So if you've ever built a LangGraph agent, this setup is probably going to look familiar to you. Basically, we've got a system prompt that's in prompts.py. We have a model name that's hard-coded in our context.py. And then our tool list lives in tools.py. So anytime I want to change any of this, even just tweaking like one word in the prompt, I have to ship a new code deploy. Moving all of that into something that's easily configurable could sound like a real project, and it definitely used to be. But now I'm going to be able to do the whole migration in about 10 minutes, and I'm not even going to have to write any of it myself. I'm going to hand this job off to an agent skill we just published that's called AI config migrate, and then I'll review its work. Quick context on what this skill is. It lives in our agent skills repo on GitHub. You can clone it. You can drop it into your assistant of choice, Claude Code, Windsurf, Cursor. And now your agent will know how to take any app hard-coded and make it one that pulls its configs from LaunchDarkly on every request. And this will run in 5 stages. So first, this skill tells your agent to audit the code. Then it's going to wrap the call, move the tools over. It'll add tracking, attach evaluators. So if, for example, our agent gets the fallback wrong or misses a file, we definitely want to catch that before it ships. The agent I'm migrating, I just grabbed one of these official React agent templates from the LangChain website. So this is just a single node React agent. It has one LLM that decides what to do, and then one tool that runs a Tavily search. So I clone this repo. I'm going to run the UV sync, copy the .env file, and in that, I'm just going to add in my Anthropic key, my Tavily key, and then my LaunchDarkly SDK key. See our docs if you want to know how to find that. Now, before I touch anything else, I'm first just going to confirm that this hard-coded agent works. So I'm going to open one terminal to run the dev server. And then the other one, I'm just going to send an easy curl request, and I'm going to ask about, what I can do on the weekend in San Francisco. And you can see we get back a pretty neutral standard answer. And that's going to be our baseline. So now when I open Claude Code, I just have to ask it to run this skill. The first stage is read only. So this skill will scan the repo. It hands me back a structured list of everything that it found in my repo that's hard-coded. The prompt, the model context, the tool list, and the 2 places in the graph.py where the tool list gets used. So this also tells me what package manager I'm using, what provider I'm calling, and what the migration plan is going to look like. Now, I just want to say, this is the checkpoint that's going to matter the most, because if this audit is wrong, everything that follows will be wrong. So definitely take your time to go through the summary and cross-check it against what you know is in the code. And when the skill looks right, I'm just going to tell it to continue. And now stage 2, this is where the skill starts writing code. It installs our LaunchDarkly AI SDK. It creates an AI config in my LaunchDarkly project with a default variation that mirrors my hard-coded value exactly. It will usually return to me a link to the LaunchDarkly UI, where I can just kind of click that and quickly verify that this all worked. It adds a new module with a fallback, and it rewrites the call model to fetch the config fresh on every request. And so my job here is to review this diff. I'm checking for 2 things: that the fallback matches my hard-coded value exactly, because if this drifts, my app will change behavior if LaunchDarkly is unreachable. And 2, that the actual model call has been untouched. So by this, I mean the orchestration, the model provider, all of that should not be modified whatsoever. Our goal is to recreate this just with configurable framework. So now we move on to stage 3, and this is where it's going to move my tools into the config. So this example only has the one search tool. The skill will extract that JSON schema from the function signature, and it'll pass it to LaunchDarkly, and it'll swap both call sites in that graph that reference the tool list. So that second part is easy to miss, because if it only updates one of them, the LLM will see the new tool, but the executor will still be referring to the old one. So this is important that you want to double check that this part is done. And then finally, I can open my AI config and LaunchDarkly UI, see the variations. Now the fun part. I'm going to open my UI and I'm going to change the default instructions. I'm going to tell it to respond to me with 80 slang. And that's it. I save it, I close it. Now, without redeploying, when I pass that same curl, I get a completely different response full of really fun 80s slang. And so I never touched the app, I never touched the repo, I didn't have to redeploy. And I did all of this setup with just running this new skill. So I also want to make sure the fallback works. And to do that, I can stop the server. I can unset my SDK key. I can restart it. And basically what we want to see is that it will not now pull in that request to use 80 slang, but instead hit that fallback. And if it does that, we can be certain that if LaunchDarkly is ever unreachable, my agent keeps running on the values it had before the migration. And finally, this skill tells your agent about how to set up evaluations. At LaunchDarkly, we have two main options. We've got an offline evaluation, which your agent knows to write a data set to test. In this data set, you can load and try out different model configurations. And when you find one that works, move that into a variation. Another option that we have is what's called online evals. And for that, a proportion of your traffic is sent through a judge that you configure. And maybe you want to monitor accuracy or relevance, something like that. So I will add links to all of those tutorials as well in the description. We're going to skip that for this particular agent because I just wanted to show you the migration in this video. So now you've seen the whole thing. So one skill, 5 stages, my hard-coded LangGraph agent is now pulling its prompts, models, parameters, and tool definition from LaunchDarkly in every request. It has metrics, a fallback, and evals are ready to attach. So my graph didn't change, my logic didn't change, and I didn't even have to write that migration. I just reviewed it. So if you want to do this on your own, the skill is linked in the description, along with the full written tutorial that walks through every stage in detail. Thanks for watching.